Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler, author of A Saga on Home Video, and in our last episode, we took a look at this and its DVD equivalent. This was the complete seasons 1 through 5 of the Clone Wars from the UK, which basically, it turned out, was a little different than the American seasons 1 through 5 collector's edition. They didn't change any of the disc labels to get rid of duplicate characters or to change the background so it was uniform. They didn't have a little art book or a little episode guide. But otherwise, basically, it's the same Blu-ray releases from earlier in the life of the Clone Wars in the UK, all just slapped into a nice little cardboard slipcover, where the only thing really missing content-wise compared to the US version was a couple of little video game trailers, but otherwise, it was all identical content with different language options. Something that made this a viable substitute for someone who was looking for seasons 1 through 5 on Blu-ray in the US and wasn't going to pay the price that usually that collector's edition for the US commands. It worked as a substitute. What's interesting, though, is that this was not actually the first time there was a Clone Wars box set beyond one season in the UK. Whereas in the US, we never saw anything like that. In the US, yeah, we had some little DVDs of just multiple episodes at a time, but our sets were season by season, and then one box set with seasons 1 through 5, and then we had the season 6/Lost Missions set that came later through Walt Disney Home Video instead of Warner Brothers Home Video. So, what is up with the idea of having box sets before the series was over, prior to its jump over to Netflix? What other box sets could there be? Well, I ran across two of these. There may have been more. They may be more than just Blu-ray, but I ran into two that are Blu-ray. We want to take a look at them here, and maybe some folks from the UK can help educate me and others on what other ones were out there for me to start hunting down. Prior to the release, though, of the complete seasons 1 through 5 Blu-ray set, there were two, neither of which went quite as far, but also neither of which got a US version, which makes them kind of cool to look at. First, we have this. This is Star Wars The Clone Wars, the complete seasons 1 and 2. So, Blu-ray symbol, that title there with Clone Wars, our main characters. There's our UK and Ireland. Kept saying Scotland. Ireland. Little ratings down there. The side, Blu-ray symbol, Lucasfilm symbol, ratings, Warner Brothers. Then horizontally, Star Wars The Clone Wars, the complete seasons 1 and 2. The bottom is actually blank. The top is just the Clone Wars logo. And the back gives us kind of a cool combination of information about those two seasons. From executive producer George Lucas and Lucasfilm Animation, an exciting new vision of the Star Wars universe comes to life in the first two seasons of Star Wars, The Clone Wars. Information about it: 44 action-packed episodes, including 7 director's cut episodes, 26 behind-the-scenes featurettes with director and crew interviews, 2 exclusive production journals with original sketches and artist notes. Images from it. Then we have our technical information that tells us that you've got English, Danish, Dutch, French, Norwegian, and Swedish options for spoken language, English, Danish, Dutch, Finnish, French, Norwegian, and Swedish for your subtitle options here. You got your ratings and legalese and all that down there at the bottom. What is in here is basically the first 2 season sets released for the Clone Wars from the UK, just slapped into a nice cardboard cover, kind of like what this was. See, just like in the US, there was a difference in how seasons 1 and 2 were handled relative to 3, 4, and 5, at least on their initial home video release. You may recall that in the US, we had digibook releases for seasons 1 and 2, then they went to just regular packaging for seasons 3, 4, and 5, and that necessitated, in their mind, when season 3 came out, a repackage of seasons 1 and 2 in regular packaging instead of a digibook to match the others. And that basically is what the UK did, which is why you've got these regular packaging versions all packed up in here. See, this was released once there were only 2 seasons out there. They hadn't had a need to switch packaging, which means it's the original version of the packaging that we'll find in this one. And they're pretty sweet, and a little bit different than their US counterparts. Inside, we'll find both of them. We'll start with Season 1. So here's Season 1. Cardboard slipcover. Blu-ray, character, logo, title, ratings. Side, just a lot of blue. Lucasfilm, then the Blu-ray logo that probably could have been up here. You got your title, your ratings. Blank bottom. Top, Star Wars The Clone Wars, complete Season 1. The back, almost skipped it. Experience the full force of Season 1. Information. Stats about Ultimate Collector's Edition includes, or contains, again, same thing as we saw with the previous one. Stats, basically similar back to what we saw before. Inside it, though, we've got, something a little different. It's not a digibook. What could it be? There's just a regular packaging version of Season 1, except the information that would have been on the back of that slipcover isn't on the back of this art. The back of the art actually looks a lot like the back of the US digibook version. Notice also, there on the front cover, no UK or Irish ratings on this one, nor on the spine. You open it, and like we saw with the later versions, we've got our information about what's on each disc just as the back of the insert here instead of a separate little item. And our discs are similar to the US look, just with those ratings on them. But there was something else I pulled out that was packed in with it. This. Nice art. Character images. Kind of flimsy feeling. But various bits of concept art and whatnot. In the US digibook, it was this actual book form, right, that we opened up, and it was bound into the packaging. Not in the UK. In the UK, instead of being loose like this, you had a slipcover. You had yourself a booklet by itself and a regular case to protect the discs. Similar content, but done in a very different way. A similar approach was taken to Season 2, but I gotta wonder if this is actually why Season 2 changed in the US. Because the US version for Season 2 was a digibook again. It did open like a book again, but it wasn't a bound-in book. It was that bound-in little kind of holder, and the book itself pulled out from the top so you could take it out and read it, and then slip it back inside the case. And I always thought, it's weird. Why would Season 1 be bound in like a book, and Season 2 just fit in the little slot that's bound in kind of like a book? What gives? Why the change? Having now seen the way that the UK version was handled, I wonder if it was to make it easier to go from region to region with the production of these releases. Because this is the UK version of Season 2 from its early release. Just like Season 1, a similar cover to the US, Blu-ray up at the top. You got your ratings in the corner. You got your information on the back that looks basically like what we saw previously. You have a similar spine to what we saw on the other. Okay? Then we take it out, and we've got ourselves, again, a cover of similar design with no region-specific ratings on the outer packaging. A similar interior, though, in the sense of having your characters there. I do note here, or I will note here, that this one actually does not have your information about the episodes on this, right, on the other side of the outer artwork there, because it is built into the little booklet. And the little booklet is, again, a separate booklet. Only instead of sliding into something that's bound into it, it just slips into the slipcase right alongside the Blu-ray case. Good stuff here, and it's got your information about what's on each disc in the back, but much more like what we saw for the US, just being held in a different way. And I think this is probably why they made that change, and I would not have thought of it had I not picked up this particular set. But notice what we got. That means we've got a booklet and a Blu-ray case for each of these that go inside a slipcover, and then both of them go inside a slipcover that apparently farts. So, yes, we have a slipcover within a slipcover, or we could say a DVD case within a slipcover within a slipcover. A very protected set of discs here. But really kind of an interesting, illustrative new addition to my Star Wars home video library, and something that has no US equivalent. we could just buy the 2 season sets separately and get them in their digibook form at the time. If you wanted the early version in the UK, you could actually buy them together. But much like that Saga DVD pack or Saga video pack, right, back in 2002 that was a saga that really only included episodes 1 and 2, this really wasn't anywhere near anything complete. In this case, it didn't even have half of the episodes that would wind up airing on Cartoon Network in the box. But at least it was an easy way to get seasons 1 and 2 together. But that was not the end of their sort of premature boxed setting. Yeah, we'll go with that term for it. Because the next year, we also got, in the UK, this one. Kind of cool looking. You can bet what it is, because I said the next year. Blu-ray. The complete seasons 1, 2, and 3. Clone Wars logo, our characters, there's our ratings. The side, a little more like what we saw with the seasons 1 through 5 set than 1 and 2. Lucasfilm logo, Blu-ray logo, series logo. The complete seasons 1, 2, 3, with little dots in between. The complete seasons 1, bullet, 2, bullet, 3. Then the images there of the covers, your ratings, Warner Brothers logo, the back, some images, ratings, shots of the packaging there, and then the complete seasons 1, 2, and 3. Executive producer George Lucas and Lucasfilm Animation presents season 1 to 3, or excuse me, seasons, it is plural on here, I just screwed it up. Seasons 1 to 3 of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Information about it, and then each season contains 22 adventure-packed episodes, behind-the-scenes featurettes with director and crew interviews, exclusive to Blu-ray for a limited time, Jedi Temple Archives, extensive database of early test animations, concept art, and 3D turnarounds. And so forth here. Okay, the top, just the logo, the bottom, stats and legalese. Open it up, and now we're back to the regular packaged versions of seasons 1, 2, and 3, which are the same packaged 1, 2, and 3 that we got back in that seasons 1 through 5 set that we looked at last episode. But note here that that does mean that 1 and 2 now don't have their slipcovers, don't have their booklets, and for season 2, that does mean that now their little notice is going to be on a separate sheet, and you are going to have the information about the discs printed on the opposite side of the cover art paper here. So even as in the US with the release of Season 3, we saw the digibooks go away and get replaced by regular package versions of Seasons 1 and 2, we are essentially seeing the same thing happening in the UK, only they got the bonus of being able to buy 3 together in one slipcase if you wanted to catch up on the series very, very quickly. Both this and this make for nifty additions to the collection here because, one, I didn't know they existed before I started really looking at season sets of the Clone Wars from the UK, and two, because they present an unusual way of looking at the Clone Wars and packaging the Clone Wars that the US simply didn't see. We didn't even try to package anything together until we thought the series was basically over, barring a little Netflix here and there. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.